today is all about singing, and I'm going to take you through these 7 extremely important singing hacks. If you are a beginner, if you are someone who feels like your singing is kind of stuck or it's not where you want it to be, this is the video for you. You do not want to miss, and you'll want to stay right until the end. I'm Brenda Earl Stokes. I'm the owner and creator of Piano and Voice with Brenda. I'm a singer, professional pianist, voice teacher, composer, producer. I do it all in music. And one of the things that I've spent a lot of time doing is studying and teaching at a very high level of vocal pedagogy. And sometimes people think, I like to sing, I'm terrible at singing, or maybe you're already singing in a band, or you're, singing with people or singing in a group, and you're sort of thinking to yourself like, I want to get better, but I'm not really sure what to do. The 7 tips I'm going to share are going to be a game changer. So let's get started. Number 1, a lot of times people who don't have a lot of vocal training, even if you've been singing for years, is that you don't use enough of your range. You sort of sing within the range of notes that you're the most comfortable with, but you don't ever go to the other parts. And so what you're going to start to do, this is going to improve your singing so very much, is start to explore your range. And I'm about to make a bunch of weird noises, so get ready. You're going to explore your lower range. Ah. So you're just going to explore what that feels like. Maybe you'll make some sounds. Hello, 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 hello. Na, 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 na. You don't even have to necessarily be singing pitches, although you could. No, 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 no. Ya, 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 ya. Oh. So you're going to explore the low part of your range. Make some different sounds. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to start to explore the higher parts of your voice. Woo! Ah! And whether you're a female singer or a male singer, no matter what range your voice is in, you need to be able to access this higher part of your voice, which is sometimes called loft and sometimes called head register. Whoa! And when you're up there, your vocal folds are long and thin, and just the edges are vibrating, which is why it feels so thin. So you're going to do some things. Woo! 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 Any kind of sounds like that to explore that space. And you may find that no sound comes out, and that's totally okay. You'll just kind of explain. You don't want to get up to like extreme, like screaming and that kind of thing, but just very gently. Woo! Woo! Then what you want to do is kind of find the middle. So if this is low and this is high, then this is somewhere in the middle. So you're going to go, whoa, yeah, 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 yeah. And you're going to do some exploration, low, high, and middle. And then you can do some stuff going low to high. Oh, oh, ah. Making sounds like that. What you're actually doing is you're stretching your vocal folds longer and thinner, and then shorter and fatter. They don't stretch this much. They're not that long, but they're just stretching back and forth. And what this will do is give you some more flexibility and give you the opportunity to kind of get a sense of what part of your voice you may not be using. So tip number 2 is an expansion of this one. All of those little exercises that you just did to explore your range, you're going to use those same kind of ideas to warm your voice up. So if you know you're going to be going to a sing-along, a choir practice, if you're going to karaoke, if you're going to be singing with the band tonight, then you need to do some things to warm up. I do have a 15-minute vocal warm-up on the channel, so you could definitely go to that. Or you could just do some of the things that you were already doing to explore your range. Whoa, blah, 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 blah. So what you're doing when you're warming up is you're getting some movement in the voice. You're getting everything warm. You're getting kind of into your body. You're getting your vocal folds mobile, and you're making some sound. So imagine if you were going to go out for, a run or do something physically demanding, do a bunch of yard work. Stretching beforehand or moving around a little bit is a helpful thing to do. You don't want to just get right out of bed and like get the shovel out right to do gardening work. You would want to move your body a little bit so that you don't get injured, but also so that your body can do its thing. So always warm up before you sing. Number 3 is to explore body movement. Because remember, our voice is our only musical instrument that is part of our body. And so if you're feeling stiff and tight, or again, you just got up or you've been sitting at a desk all day and then you go to sing, it's not going to feel very good. And so doing some basic stretches where you're kind of moving your body around, you're moving your shoulders, maybe you're stretching out your neck, maybe you're rolling your neck back and forth. Doing some movement, doing some nice deep breathing, kind of getting things moving will make a really big difference. And in with the movement, you can also do some gentle massage in here. You can massage in your jaw. You can stick your tongue out, blah, 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 blah. Get everything kind of moving. And so exploring some body movement helps, number 2, which is the warm up, and just helps you to sort of be feeling like, I'm in my body is moving. Number 4 is to think about your breathing. And I know that people are like, I've got to fix my breathing in order to be a singer. If you were not good at breathing, we would not be having this conversation right now because you would be dead. Right? All of us humans, as much as we can be, are good at breathing because we have to do that all day or else we have a problem. And if you have some kind of breathing issue, you have severe allergies or you have asthma or if you have anything else, then you know, especially that, breathing is an important thing that we need to be mindful of doing. But how we breathe when we sing is a little bit different than you might do as, a normal person just talking or moving through the world. What we want to do when we're singing is we want to take our inhalation through our mouth, because if we try to take it in through our nose, then it's kind of stopping the whole process. So you take the air in silently through your mouth. You don't want to be making a sound, right? I'm not going, right? That's not what we want it to sound like. We don't want it to sound like your lungs are clogged, but you've got that. And then what you should be doing is finding a way to find some expansion in your rib cage, almost like your rib cage that you put on is a little bit too big for your body. And so when I'm just sort of sitting here, I'm relaxed, and then it's time to sing, I'm going to be thinking about my rib cage having some energy and having some strength. And then when I take my inhalation, I keep my rib cage nice and lifted. So what you can do to practice if you're getting ready to sing a song, you take your inhalation and then you go to sing your line, and you'll have more air and more kind of flow in your sound. When I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, speaking words of wisdom. So a great exercise that you can do is to pick whatever song, you're working on. I just sang a little bit of that Beatles song. Practice taking that deep inhalation through your mouth, feeling that expansion through your rib cage, and notice how it changes your singing. Number 5 is the idea of support. And you might have heard support the sound before, and you're like, I have no idea what that means. So when you take your inhalation and your rib cage is open, right, it's not enough to just kind of blow out the air. What we want to do is engage our lower abdominal muscles. And so what I'm talking about, these lower abdominal muscles, you're going to engage them and start to bring them in and up while you sing. So when I'm going, I take my inhalation. These are my abdominal muscles, by the way. I take my inhalation, my belly releases a little bit. And then when I go to make a sound, my abdominal muscles come in and up. Now, it doesn't have to feel like you're putting on a pair of pants that's 10 sizes too small. No, you're just wanting to feel that engagement. Almost like the analogy that I use is like the bagpipes, right? You blow up the bagpipe and then you're gently squeezing it. That's what the piper is doing to get the air out. And so you're going to continue. You release it when you're filling up with air. And then as you're singing, you're bringing it in and up. And so again, that's something that you can do. You could practice it on a hiss to get the coordination together. You take your inhalation and then you go sss. And the longer you hold that hissing sound. So you're going to take your inhalation and then you're going to hiss. And as you're hissing, you're bringing your abdominal muscles up, in and up, so that you can continue to bring the air out. Then you release, and then you do it again. And then you can do it on a note or on a song. Now, this concept of support is usually when people don't have training. This is usually the breathing and the support is usually a big piece of the puzzle as to why maybe you're singing flat or you're singing sharp or the sound doesn't sound as good or you're running out of air. This is that kind of discipline that you can build into your practice. So something to think about, again, taking a simple song that you already know, taking a deep breath, singing the line, and as you're doing it, engaging your abdominal muscles in and up. Number 6 is the idea of making space. And what we want to do is think about making more of a resonant sound in here. So if I'm just talking normally, then, this is the inside of my mouth. I'm just sort of going like this. But if I decide to speak like this, then what I'm doing is I'm making more space inside. And I'm making more space inside by relaxing the bottom of my mouth. And I'm also making space by lifting the top. Now, you don't have to think lift top, drop bottom. You can just go, oh, right? It's got that kind of sound. Hello there. Like someone's going, duh, dummy. That kind of sound. Oh, I'm so lazy today. Or like a cartoon bear. Oh, I'm a big cartoon bear. So you don't have to think about what your mouth is doing. You can just make that kind of sound. And if you were to sing this way, then you get more of that kind of Frank Sinatra crooning kind of sound. Now, that might be too much for the kind of singing you're doing, but this experience is what we call resonance. And imagine the difference between if you were singing or speaking in a closet versus a cathedral, a huge church cathedral. And you can hear what a difference it is between the room being really, really dry and not making a lot of like that reverberating sound and then being in a much larger space. So when we're playing with resonance, what we're doing is actually making the space in here much wider and more open inside so that you can make that sound. So I see this especially with rock singers, is that the sound can sound very pinched and very squeezed. But if you explore this, then you'll find that it can sound a lot more resonant and in that way more polished or finished. So if I were to say, when I find myself in times of trouble, Mother Mary comes to me, all I'm doing is I'm just singing more from this kind of space. So I would urge you to, again, take that little snippet of the song and experiment with making more room inside in an effort to make the sound more resonant. And you'll find that you'll get some beautiful sounds that way. And again, if you're singing a big screamy rock song, maybe this isn't perfect, but it's something to experiment. So now I told you that the 7th tip here is a really, really important one, but I cannot reiterate how important number 7 is. And that is choose the right key for your voice. I'll plaster it over the screen. Choose the right key for your voice. Choose the right key for your voice. If you are singing a Billy Joel song, a Phil Collins song, right? If you're singing something by Aretha Franklin or Mariah Carey, those are people that have high voices. And there are people that have unusually high voices, Freddie Mercury too. So if you try to sing in their key, it is going to very likely feel terrible and secondly, sound worse unless you have a very high voice. So if you're someone that has a pretty high voice, then maybe those songs aren't a problem for you and you can just sing them in their key. But if you do not have that voice type, then you will have to find the right key for yourself. So if Phil Collins is singing something in the key of B flat, maybe you'll need to take it down to the key of G. And it's something that you can do if you're accompanying yourself to go on like Garage or what's it called, Ultimate Guitar, and change the key, lower the key. You can change the key on your keyboard if you need to. Or you can often find other versions of like karaoke versions that are for a lower voice. And if you are singing, like let's say you're singing in a band or you're doing something like that, it is very, very, very important to your vocal health and also to the health of the people listening to you that you find the key that works for you. So if I'm singing a Whitney Houston song, I don't have a high voice. Whitney Houston had a very, very high voice. I don't have a very high voice. So I might sing her song down a whole step or even a little bit more for it to feel good in my voice. If you were a male singer and you wanted to sing a Phil Collins song, then you might do the same thing. You might say, woo, when I try to sing up there, it feels really, really, really high. The opposite is true too. If you have a very high voice and you're trying to sing something that's too low, then you might need to bring it up a couple of different keys. So I cannot stress enough how important it is for you to choose the right key for your own voice. And that's something that you can experiment with and kind of say, the original is in the key of D, but it really feels better when I sing it in B flat. So those are my 7 tips. The first one is get used to exploring your range. The second one is warm up your voice, either using the warm-up tracks that I have in here or for you to just make some sounds. Number 3 is explore body movement and moving around the parts of your neck and your jaw and your shoulders and all of those kinds of parts of your body that might be associated with singing. Number 4 is the singer's breath and doing a good job of breathing. Number 5 is support. Number 6 is making space so you can be more resonant. And number 7 is choose the right key. I hope this tutorial was helpful for you. If it was, make sure you leave me a big thumbs up. Leave me a comment below and let me know which of these hacks you think are probably going to be the best ones for you. Are there ones where you're thinking, oh my gosh, I absolutely need to do that? Was there anything that surprised you? You can leave your comments and your questions down below. If you want to know more about me, you should check out my website, pianoandvoicewithbrenda.com. There you'll find a ton of fantastic resources, including how you can work with me. I teach private lessons on Google Meet all over the world, lots of YouTube subscribers. And I also have an online membership called The Versatile Musician, where I have entire courses devoted to singing, accompanying yourself, ear training, music theory, and more. And if you use coupon code GETSTARTED30 in the link below, then I will give you $30 off the first month. What a great deal. I hope this was helpful for you. I'll see you next time, and happy singing.